悠 Talk。
最大不同啊，它的钱小哦。
We cannot eat the Din Tai Fung here. We can eat Din Tai Fung there.
哦，不会啦。新加坡这么城市，他们哪里要去住在？你看阿妈住在这里，他们都嫌远呢。
Those who live around the line will be quite happy. However, I think those who live a bit further away from the line will feel it's a bit unfair because then their own property doesn't rise in value.
According to the news, Singapore to Johor, the RTS has completed 2 out of 3%. It's expected to be open by 2026. So are you looking forward to the time when the RTS is open?
For me personally, cause me and my family, we travel quite often to JB. So I think with the RTS being open, it will be much more convenient for us to now go to and fro. Considering we do not need to like book a ticket for the checkpoint bus or checkpoint train.
How about you?
I believe that it will be a lot more convenient. Now there will be 2 different ways, methods to travel to and fro between JB and Singapore.
Looking forward. I'm very excited.
Yes, of course, we are very excited because we are, the Woodlands residents especially.
我替那些人高兴，新加坡要进去也方便，那边要出来也方便哦。
After it opens, what do you most want to do in the JB? Yeah.
Maybe once in a while travel just for lunch.
Just for lunch only?
Yeah, just for lunch. Like a bit weird when you say, wow, you can travel to Malaysia just for lunch or dinner and just come back straight away. Normally most Singaporeans will find it troublesome because of the travelling time in between the custom and the traffic jam. But with train, I don't think so.
Usually to buy stuff there because it's cheaper, like the protein shakes and stuff.
Yeah, how about you?
For me personally, I like to go there to try out different cafes, try the different food, local cuisines. So I am a very big food person lah. I live to eat.
Mostly I'll just hang out with friends for shopping and like watching movies. Yeah, I think also the Malaysia ringgit is like compared to Singapore is much lower, so it's more affordable like in terms of the food.
这个新柔地铁通之后，你会考虑很经常去新山吗？搭地铁去？
当然，那个想法肯定会增加，毕竟去那边消费，当然也是很开心的一个事情嘛，会有这种想法了。
有这种想法，这样你会不会好像每个星期，还是每几天，甚至是每一天？都去新山了。
对我来说应该是1个星期吧。
现在的话，你是通多常去新山？
可能1个月去1次。
Whenever he's free, so and our kids are all grown up, so usually we like, hey, why not? Come, let's go breakfast.
As and when we want to go, we can just go.
Just go
no problem.
No need think too much for this.
Provided the fare is reasonable, to go to and fro.
We got a few relatives there, also can visit them often.
Every day is a bit much lah, but maybe every 2 weeks will be very reasonable lah. Going there to relax, take some time off of Singapore lah, enjoy something new.
Every day, not really, but mostly like weekends because weekdays we still have to work. But like going to JB honestly is like going to town for me. I mean, every day is also okay if let's say the traffic is much more lesser.
We know the living habit and the food in Singapore and Malaysia is very similar. Yeah. So right. What do you all think is the biggest difference between Singapore and JB?
Because of the exchange rate, so that's why the shopping will be much better for us ladies. And then they have more varieties over there compared to Singapore, and then especially for Muslim with the hijabs, all that, easily to access. You go to the shopping center, I easily can go to the boutique anywhere. So in Singapore maybe it's a little bit difficult.
How about the food in JB?
Food definitely, JB is much wider
much more varieties.
So everywhere is halal. So it's food heaven for us lah.
We cannot eat the Din Tai Fung here. We can eat Din Tai Fung there.
最大不同啊，它的钱小哦。
本身我马来西亚人，所以我会觉得可能这里的节奏会比较快，那里就比较缓慢一点。可能那种通勤的方式也不一样吧，因为那里的多数是要汽车或者摩托，因为这里的新加坡就是可能都是 MRT 啊、bus 啊这种比较多啦。
Although Singapore and Malaysia are very similar, right? Malaysia definitely, I don't think comes close in terms of like cleanliness and environment there lah.
Yeah,
a lot of littering, a lot of trash around.
We also see many Singaporean buying property in JB. Will you all consider to buy the property in JB there?
This is something my parents have considered lah. Like after all of their children have moved out, then they're gonna go live in Malaysia.
But I do know of friends who have invested in property like in JB. I think it's quite worthwhile, like they rent out as Airbnb, so it's like an additional source of income for them.
Purchase properties, maybe not lah.
Not too sure in the future, but for now we can say that we don't have the idea. I mean, we don't fancy the idea of having property in JB. We have our parents last time, they do have, the rental, all that. But we find it kind of hassle, to take care of both sides. So I think, no, so our properties, everything is here. There is just to go have fun, holiday, vacation, staycation, only that.
新柔地铁通车后，新山的物价和房价之类会不会变得更加贵呢？
房价肯定会起，因为来回的那个人数可以增多，在 JB 生活的人当然也会更多，所以我会觉得房价一定会起，物价当然多多少少都会起啦。
I think most definitely the areas around the line will definitely rise in price lah. But then further away, I think it will still stay relatively the same or only increase by a very small margin.
Everywhere will be the same lah. Once you got all these kind of services up and running, right? I think the property nearby the area should be, I think it will be going up lah.
通车了之后，让你觉得会不会很多马来西亚人来新加坡工作呢？
现在就已经600万了，新加坡不用紧的啦。他们现在也不会像以前说随便来，现在你好像你批啊，你也是要有那个准证啊什么才可以。
我也不敢说了，但是我觉得那些人当然也是会有想说更想来这里做工，因为第一也是钱嘛，第二当然也是说这个 RTS 完成了过后，它的那个时间他们可以来回的更快，这样子。
会不会有很多新加坡人搬去新山住呢？因为这一个通车？
不会啦，新加坡这么城市，他们你要去住在。假如是我的后代，他们是绝对不会的。你看阿妈住在这里，他们都嫌远呢。马来西亚的人跟我讲，才半小时车程，2个小时都无所谓嘞。这边15分钟就要又很远呢。
I think it's not easy like to to frequently go over and then like that's the transport time. Like even in Singapore, I think asking me to travel every day back to office to work is already quite tough.
I think it's an idea a lot of people have, but whether they actually do it is a very different story lah. Because though Singapore and Malaysia are quite similar, they are still very different countries with their own unique cultures lah. Me personally, I wouldn't do that lah. I like my area here in Singapore. It is much more convenient compared to Malaysia lah. Considering now 100 meters of my HDB, right? There'll be multiple supermarkets, a lot of kopitiams, and little small, what are they called? Mini marts.
Mini mart, yeah.
So it'll be very convenient for me. And moving to Malaysia will change that quite a lot lah.
Living in Malaysia will be a little bit more uncomfortable lah. Of course, I've been living here basically my whole life. I know where everything is.
问你觉得会不会有很多退休人士从新加坡搬去新山住？
那个可能会。
那可能会。
疗养院便宜吗？在那边住咯。我有听过有人去那边养老了。
Basically, everything is all down to dollar and cents, ma. So if let's say staying there, can save them more money, then can prolong their savings. Why not?
What do you all think the people living in JB? How do they feel about this? Like the housing prices increase a lot.
There will be a lot of very mixed reviews lah. Those who live around the line will be quite happy because when they do decide to sell off their property, they have a much more profit coming in lah. However, I think those who live a bit further away from the line will feel it's a bit unfair because then their own property doesn't rise in value despite the line being built. Then they have a lot of regrets.
Probably not because they might not be able to afford if it increase to Singapore standard price especially. I don't think so it will meet to Singapore standard price lah, but I will see them not being happy due to the fact that it's still increase for them,
Yes and no, because in terms of the traffic, there will be more and more people that's going in, and I think there will be a bit of overcrowding issues. But I think in terms of the Malaysian economy, probably will get better because for every country, it's the same. We do also want tourists to come to our countries to spend on all this.
I'm not too sure about them lah, but maybe if those Johorians working in Singapore for them maybe staying nearby they can pay for much more higher price lah. But for those local Johorian, maybe they don't need to stay there mah. Right, they can stay other location in JB.
Oh, maybe like outskirt a bit.
Yeah, outskirt a bit lah.
Will consider still go to the JB if the price in JB increasing a lot?
Actually, now their price actually also
It's also,
increased. We used to buy our groceries there, but not anymore. Yeah.
You just go there for food.
Yeah, so for food, for relaxation, you know, so just jalan-jalan, that's all. Yeah.
Not all things are cheap there lah. Not all things lah.
Not all things.
Some of the things is cheaper here in Singapore.
Yeah, I think that is a valid point. Perhaps have to see.
It's depending on how much it increase. If it's the same as Singapore price, then no.
Oh, right.
But if it's still cheaper, then I will still consider it.
If the RTS were connected to Kuala Lumpur or even Ipoh or even to Penang, would you all welcome it? Yeah.
Of course, we are waiting for the high-speed train, but I don't know now what happened. Maybe hopefully they will.
They can come to terms.
Then build the high-speed train lah.
We like to travel to Malaysia, either by car or by plane or by land.
That's actually even more exciting. Yeah.
More exciting.
Yeah, because if I heard it will only take you like 1 hour or plus, 1 hour plus around there, that will be like basically west to east traveling time for Singaporeans to travel using MRT. So it's like normal for me lah, because I normally hang out with my friends at east. So if I can say I can travel the same amount of time to KL, that will be very interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like suddenly you can just say, oh, I'm going KL for lunch later. Would you like to join me?
你同意他们的说法吗？觉得不错，请点赞订阅。